Hi, I'm Pamela Paulk. I'm the head of human resources here at Johns Hopkins Medicine. And I decided to do this videotape to help some of our women international travelers who find themselves going to the Middle East. With many of my colleagues, when they get ready to go to the Middle East, they're concerned and they're anxious to make sure that we follow all the proper customs and the dress. And frankly, there's a lot of stuff out there that makes us nervous and anxious. And so I'm here to try to take a little bit of the mystery away from travel in the Middle East. So first of all, there's not one Middle East. While the customs are generally the same, they are very different by country, depending on the level of conservatism that there is in that particular country. So many of the things that you hear on the press and other places talk about the places that are the most conservative. Many of the places that you'll go, however, are very westernized, for lack of a better term. And if you follow general customs, you'll be absolutely fine, such as Dubai. Dubai is very westernized, and you can pretty much wear anything that you want to, so long as you are generally modest. So I think that's the first thing you should remember is modesty. Modesty in your dress. This is modest dress that any Western woman could wear in most parts of the Middle East. So when I say modest, I think of three things. Cover your elbows, cover your knees, and cover your chest. If you keep those things in mind, then you're fine. So pants are absolutely acceptable most everywhere. You can also wear a long skirt. I find pants to be a lot easier. Any sort of suit, any sort of pantsuit, any sort of jacket or sweater is fine. I usually do wear a suit or a jacket just because it's easier. And then one of the things that I found after going over a few times, of course, is it's hot, 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 most places there. So you're going to find yourselves in meetings and you're going to be hot. You want to take your jacket off. Now, if you've worn a lovely shell underneath, it's probably not going to work and you'll be uncomfortable. No one's going to say don't take your jacket off, but you may be uncomfortable. So what I typically do is I try to find something that has a little bit longer sleeve, not a long sleeve, but something that again comes down to near my elbow or below my elbow. And then this easily becomes something that I can wear in any meeting or wear out to dinner. Before I go on to talk a little bit more about dress, let me mention about just how to introduce yourself. You will hear and you will read that sometimes men won't shake hands with women. I've traveled in the Middle East quite a bit in many of the different countries there, and I've actually only had that happen to me once. Only once did I put my hand out to shake hands, and the gentleman simply said, I think he said, I don't touch women I'm not related to. Something very simple like that. So the way you could react is like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But you shouldn't. You should be, that's their custom, and it's our custom to shake hands. So if you do that and the person refuses their hand, just simply act like it was normal and say, it's nice to meet you. And then you don't have to feel bad about that at all. It's not like you made some terrible faux pas. So don't try to be uncomfortable about it. There are many situations, though, where you can't travel by yourself as a woman without a male driver or escort. For instance, in Saudi Arabia, women still aren't allowed to drive. So you'll always have a driver with you. You'll be met at the airport by someone who will take you to your hotel or take you to wherever you're going to be staying. If you want to go to the mall, then there will be drivers available to take you there. So you really won't find yourself particularly stranded anywhere. I went to the mall in Saudi Arabia the last time I was there, and a gentleman drove two of us as women, and we stayed together. And what we saw in the mall were many women traveling as a group and shopping in the mall together. And so once they got there, that was perfectly acceptable. So don't be too terribly concerned about that. In most of the hotels, they're very westernized. So once you're inside the hotel, you're absolutely fine. Again, just conservative, modest dress is appropriate anywhere that you would go. Now, the thing that we all see on TV are the black abayas and covers that women wear. And then you wonder if you should wear one or not. Again, in most countries of the Middle East, you don't have to wear them. The local women do, but the Western women are not really expected to wear them, again, as long as you're dressed modestly. There are a couple of exceptions, though. If you visit a mosque, for instance, they will want you to be covered, and so you'll want to either have an abaya with you, or in many cases they provide one for you. They'll provide a cover for you as you go into the mosque. And just pay attention to things around you. If people take off their shoes, then you'll want to take off your shoes as well. Just be mindful of what's going on around you. And in the mosque, you do typically will take your shoes off. Don't worry about leaving them at the door. People don't generally steal shoes. Everybody leaves their shoes there. And there are a few other things about how you carry yourself while you're in the mosque. But again, just look at the people around you and just behave the same way that they do, and you'll be fine. Now, in countries like Saudi Arabia, in most parts of Saudi Arabia, not all of them, but in the more conservative areas, you will be expected to wear an abaya when you're out in public. Again, if you're working in a hospital, if you're in your hotel, you won't necessarily, you can go down to breakfast without your abaya on, and that's fine. You can get into the car, go wherever you're going. But if you're going to go shopping, if you're going to go out to a public restaurant, you're probably going to be expected to wear an abaya. So I brought mine to show you today. On TV, they look like just black robes, but I'm here to tell you they are very fashion forward. They come in different styles. If you're from Hopkins and you want to go, you're welcome to borrow one of mine. I have several different ones in several different styles. This one I find to be the easiest, though I'm having trouble snapping it right now. The reason I find this one to be the easiest is it closes all the way down. That way I don't really have to worry about what I have on underneath. And frankly, the local Western women also will say they may go to the grocery store and they may have shorts underneath, so they find it very easy. And you can see it's just a loose fitting black covering. It's called an abaya. Mine has sparkles on them. Many of them are, again, designer. They have all kinds of great designs on them. Again, this is sort of the simplest, and I like it a lot. You also will wear a headscarf by different names. I know it by Shayla because most of my travel has been in the United Arab Emirates, and that's what the women there call it. Again, as a Western woman, you're not always expected to cover your head. When I'm out in public, I usually do simply because I would rather fit in. I'm a guest. I'm a guest of the company. I'm representing Hopkins. And so for me, I would rather not risk the chance of offending anyone. It's easier just to cover my head. So you can wear it just loosely over your head like this, and you'll see most Western women simply, wear it just like you would a scarf here, and that's fine. Now, I find that this is less comfortable because I'm always worried about it sliding back and slipping off of my head. So I tie it a little bit tighter. You'll see that the local women actually tie theirs quite tight, and in some places they cover their face. Now, I've never been anywhere where a Westerner was expected to do that, but I do prefer to tie mine a little bit tighter because it's just easier to wear. It takes a little bit of practice, but I'll show you how I've been taught to do it. You simply pull it tight around your face, hold it here, and flip it around, and like I said, it takes a little practice, and then you tuck it in. And once you've tucked it in, and by the way, you always want the pretty part to show, then with it tight like this, you can do anything. You don't have to mess with it, you don't have to play with it, and it stays on. It'll stay on for several hours without you having to worry about it or retie it. So again, carry a scarf with you and wear it whenever you feel it's appropriate. When you're going to Saudi Arabia, which is the place that we are now traveling a great deal, you will put your abaya on in the airplane before you go to come out of the plane in the airport, because the airport is a very public place. You will see some Western women not being covered, but again, you fit in better. So carry it with you. Put it on the airplane. Again, you can just slip it over like you would an overcoat and wear it through the airport. And the same thing when you're going back to the airport or any public place you'd want to put it in. I keep mine with me in my briefcase whenever I go to work, not because I'm going to need it, but because who knows, at the end of the day we might decide we want to stop by a place to shop, or we may decide we want to go to a local restaurant, and I'd rather not have to say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go, I didn't bring my abaya. So I carry it with me everywhere while I'm there. And again, it's not something that I feel that I'm following the local custom as much as I can. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be an expert on the customs of the Middle East, but I am someone who's traveled there, and I was hoping that I could make you less anxious. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, and if you feel comfortable, then you'll have a better time, and I hope this has helped you. Thank you.